Hey, what's up everyone, it's Prestige 3s, and today what I wanted to do was actually make a little bit of a different video. Today we're going to be going over probably the best exhaustion perks in the game, ranked from highest to lowest tier, and why I think they're good, and the situation that they're used for everyone. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, the first perk up on our list is going to be Dead Hard. Now, Dead Hard was for a long time, and still to this day, in my opinion, one of the best exhaustion perks in the game. However, my mind has changed recently due to a YouTuber named Aaron Plays TTV. Go check him out, I'll have his link in the description below. Anyway, Dead Hard basically makes it so that when you're running, if you press E on PC or on keyboard or X on controller, you will essentially dash forward, and that dash, you are basically invincible during that dash. You have no registered hitbox. You cannot physically be hit during that Dead Hard. It also causes exhaustion for 40 seconds at tier 3. And overall, the main point of Dead Hard is to extend loops and make them more viable, so you get an extra loop out of a single one. Have a hit and take the #1 spot for our next exhaustion perk, which is Sprint Burst. Now, Sprint Burst. Basically what happens is when you start running, you instantly break into a sprint, and you run at 150% your normal running speed for 3 seconds, and it causes exhaustion for 40 seconds at tier 3. Now, I think Sprint Burst is incredibly bad for newer players. Reason being is because they walk everywhere, and then as soon as the killer comes, they Sprint Burst, but they don't know where they're going. They Sprint Burst into a dead zone where there's really no pallets, and they just get themselves killed. I think that Sprint Burst is extremely popular, though, for newer players, because I think they like to have that sense of security that if the killer comes, I can just run away extremely quickly. However, I do not recommend this perk for beginners. To make this perk most viable, you need to know where you're sprint bursting, and you have to know how to 99 it and properly use it. It's probably the most complicated perk to use, excluding Dead Hard. I feel like Dead Hard is a lot harder to use than Sprint Burst, but that's only my opinion. But I definitely feel like they're both up there. So let's go ahead and move on to our next exhaustion perk, and that is going to be Balanced Landing. Now, Balanced Landing has always had a soft spot in my heart, and I used it so much before the nerf. If you guys aren't aware, previously how Balanced Landing worked is you would always get that 75% reduction to like the staggered, so you'd recover from falling faster and better. And you know, me obviously being a toxic, filthy Nia main, this perk was always great to have. I can remember prestiging her all the way up to P3, and every time I would always put on Balanced Landing for my first perk when leveling her up, because it was just so good. You could run infinites, but that's not really why I like the perk. I like the perk just because of the benefits, and that it allowed different types of playstyles. For example, the traditional looping is just like run around in circles on the ground, drop the pallet, move on to the next one, which is, I think, why Dead Hard was actually put into the game. Down here, I think that's why Dead Hard was put into the game. But Balanced Landing allowed you to make vertical plays, meaning you could loop a killer possibly even longer than you could horizontally without a pallet on these like window loops with Balanced Landing. It allowed the same amount of play as it did on the ground, but now you can do that while falling and make vertical plays. I personally think that if they left Balanced Landing alone, that it definitely 100% could be like meta exhaustion perk, and I think it was. I truly believe that Balanced Landing was incredibly meta before they nerfed it, and now I just don't see anyone using it anymore, which is very, very sad. It's really sad. I think this perk is good, and for me, I don't even use it anymore just because of how hard it was hit. Um, and I don't even know why, because I personally didn't care about the 75%. It was just nice to have, I guess, and bounce landing was just always fun. But now I feel like the perk is a lot more buggy, because I'll drop off hills all the time when I occasionally use this perk, and it just won't trigger, and I'll die because of that. I definitely think bounce landing needs to be retweaked, or not reworked, but it needs to be tweaked and made a lot better perk. I'm not impressed with what they did. Our next perk is going to be the meme itself, head on. It's the only exhaustion perk in the game that does not give you a speed boost of anything. Head on. Basically, when you're in a locker for 3 seconds, the perk activates. You can fast fall out and stun the killer for 3 seconds, assuming the killer's like obviously right in front of the locker. The perk has more benefits. For example, if a killer picks up a survivor in front of the locker and you head on, you can actually save them. I had some good games the other night, which I didn't record, which was stupid. But yeah, I pulled that off, and obviously it causes exhaustion for 40 seconds at tier 3. Now, head on itself, as far as like a tactical situation, the perk is extremely hard to use in chase. You need to pair it up with you have to pair it up with quick and quiet. There's no way that you can slow vault into a locker, wait 3 seconds, and then stun the killer. Most likely, while you're slow vaulting into the locker, the killer will come around the corner and see you and just pull you out. You really do need to pair this perk up with quick and quiet. Basically, that just allows you to fast vault and do it quietly. I don't actually have the perk on Nia yet, but I'm still working on getting it. Anyway, head on. What do I think of it? I think that head on could be a lot better. I personally feel that if you instantly jumped in the locker and you had head on and it's stunned for longer, so like you could instantly vault in and you'd have the perk ready and it's stunned for like, let's say 4 seconds, I think that'd be a lot better. Because what I notice is like I'll be almost dead, the powder will be gone, I'll use head on to stun the killer so I can get to the next loop, but I'll head on the killer, run away, I'll look behind and he's already behind me. I do not feel like 3 seconds is a long enough stun, and it could be a lot better. Especially the exhausted. I think the exhausted is a good effect, so obviously you can't do it, infinitely. But I do feel that they should remove the exhaustion effect and just put head on a cooldown, because I think, like, obviously it makes sense, right? You're exhausted, you hopped out of the locker and stunned the killer. But I personally feel that if they were to just put head on a cooldown, make it so you instantly hop in a locker and you can stun, and then make that stun around 4 seconds or so, I think it would make head on and like just so much better of a perk. And yeah, so let's go ahead and move on to our next exhaustion perk. Now, I don't actually have Fang leveled up. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I actually had another account where I had all the perks, I had everything, and then that account got booted. Someone hacked my account and stole it, and I couldn't get it back. So I had to basically restart the entire game, buy everything again. And I recently bought the game, I think, maybe January of last year or so. So I do not have everything in the game, and I've been slowly grinding and working on it. So I hope you guys can excuse me for that. Anyway, live. So basically, how this perk works is whenever you fast vault a window, you run at 150% your normal movement speed for 3 seconds, and it causes exhaustion for 40 seconds at tier 3. I am not a fan of live. I feel that if you want live, you can just use sprint burst. 99 your sprint burst, hop through a window, and you have live. It's really not that hard to do. Now, obviously, I do realize that live has its tactical situations where, the killer's about to get you, but The real bad thing though is because when you're looping killers, when you're running killers around, you're always vaulting windows, and I feel like just lie does not fit into the situation. If a killer is chasing you, you're gonna get one fast vault, and you're gonna be able to move farther into the loop, but then it's gone. Your exhaustion, and then there's obviously those people that don't know how to use lithe properly, and they'll fast vault a window, and then they'll run away into a dead zone because they have the speed boost. If you guys are curious, the proper way to use the lithe, in my opinion, is to use it similar to Dead Hard, as you can use it to extend loops farther, or use it to get to another pallet or another tile. That's my personal opinion. I feel that you shouldn't okay, if you're gonna fast vault a window and use your life, make sure you know where you're going. Don't just run off into a dead zone of the map, because that will get you killed. You need to know where you're running, or you're just gonna die. Also, please always make sure you have a line of sight on the killer before you use lithe. Do not use it and then run around the corner and then the killer's just standing there waiting for you to use it. You need to be unpredictable while using this perk, and if you use it properly and use it right, it can save your life. But really, overall, I don't recommend using it, but it is pretty solid for newer players. So yeah. Alright, so what do I rank all of these perks? So I'm gonna be ranking them from best to worst. No tiers. Alright, I'm just gonna be going from best to worst. Alright, best exhaustion perk in the game, sprint burst. I feel like just what it gives you, and I personally like it because it's a hard exhaustion perk to use. You can't press a button and you live, you know. I like some skill involved, which is why I love watching YouTubers like Aaron Plays TV and Captain Mantine, whose YouTube channel will also be linked down below. Those YouTubers, really fun to watch. Highly recommend subscribing. Hashtag Aaron Plays TTV 100K. Anyway, so I'm gonna have to be putting sprint burst in the S tier. If you guys, like I said, if you guys want to watch any good videos with sprint burst, go watch one of them. But yeah, I feel like just sprint burst probably the best exhaustion perk in the game. Right under it, it's gonna be controversial, and I know a lot of people are not gonna like this, but I'm gonna be putting head on. Now probably just clicking off the video right now, but hear me out. Head on, I feel that if you pair head on with the right perks and you get it to use properly, it's overall fun. The reason I'm putting it up there is because of fun factor, and it does have a tacticalness of saving lives. You can tell your teammate to die in front of a locker, and you can head on save them. I've done that several times, and it works. And plus it's also very consistent. I've not had head on like bug on me since like they came out, like last year or something. Yeah. Anyway, right below it, I'm obviously putting Dead Hard. I feel like Dead Hard just it's so good. I don't even know how to explain it, man. It's just Dead Hard is, you know what? Hold on, let me switch back to the let me show you guys something really quick. Let me show y'all something. Where's the baby? Boom. Okay. Dead Hard. In fact, you know what we're gonna do here? My future self is obviously gonna edit this, and we are going to zoom in on Dead Hard because it is just so good. You know what? Boom. There we go. Future self, thank you for editing this. Anyway, Dead Hard. It's good. It really is good. I'm putting this right below head on because when it doesn't bug out and it works, it's so good. It has such a tactical advantage, and it can really help you in every situation. You don't need to fall from somewhere. The only requirement for Dead Hard is you need to be injured. But yeah, like I said, I've already talked about it. I'm gonna put it right there. Right below Dead Hard, I'm gonna have to put Bounce Landing. A lot of people are considering it probably the worst exhaustion perk in the game. right? Worse than head-on. But I don't feel that. I feel like it has its situations, and you can even mind game with it now. If the killer doesn't hear you fall, they're not going to know that you dropped, right? And you can use that to get away, especially if the killer does not have a line of sight on you. It's really good for playing mind games. I've used it several times, and that's where I'm putting the perk. Yeah. And then last perk is obviously going to have to be, it's going to be live. I know some people that use live, and they use it effectively, and they use it really, really well. And they just pull incredible plays with live. I've gone against those players as killers, as a killer. It just doesn't it doesn't fit me personally. I don't like how it's used instantaneously, right? I just don't like that, so that's where I'm putting it. Anyway, so hope you guys did enjoy this video. That's gonna be where I put all of the perks: sprint burst, head on, dead hard, bounce landing, and then live at the bottom. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Alright, have a night, guys.